All right, buckle up for this deep dive because we're about to unpack some, shall we say, passionate opinions about the Canadian system.
Yeah, this isn't your average polite Canadian conversation, is it?
Not quite. We're diving into excerpts from a personal statement,
Hmm.
and let's just say this individual had some pointed things to say about how the system, as they see it, really uses our time and labor.
It's like they see the entire Canadian system as this machine, you know, one that's designed to take this precious resource time and just process it into money.
They even go as far as calling wages debt instruments.
IOUs for our lives, essentially.
Yeah, which, okay, I gotta admit, makes you think a little differently about that paycheck.
Definitely gets your attention.
So, to set the stage for this deep dive, the core idea we're grappling with is this. The text argues that the Canadian system is fundamentally about extracting value from individuals' time and labor.
Right. And they present it almost like an equation.
Yeah.
Your time equals money, and the system is rigged to maximize its take from that exchange.
With time on Earth being, as they put it, the most valuable resource we have.
Which, philosophically, is hard to argue with, right? I mean, time is finite. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Exactly. But they then connect that to employment and the Canadian system in a way that gets a little, well,
Unsettling.
yeah, a bit unsettling. This whole idea of wages as debt instruments,
Hmm.
that's where it starts to feel, I don't know, almost conspiratorial.
It's provocative, for sure. To be fair to the source, the idea of time as a limited and valuable resource is a fundamental concept, even in economics. It's called opportunity cost.
Okay, break that down for us. Opportunity cost. What's
But-
that all about?
So every choice we make, we're essentially choosing one thing over another, right?
Yeah.
If you spend an hour watching TV, that's an hour you're not spending reading a book, working on a project, or even just sleeping. The cost of that hour of TV is the value you place on the next best thing you could have been doing with that time.
Makes sense. So, in the context of work, by choosing to be employed, spending, say, 40 hours a week at a job, we're giving up time. We could be doing other things, and that has a value.
Precisely. Now, this person takes it a step further, suggesting that the Canadian system is intentionally designed to, well, exploit that exchange. Hence, the debt instrument analogy.
Which, to be totally honest, I'm still struggling with a bit.
It's a catchy comparison, but it breaks down when you look at how money actually works in a modern economy.
How so?
Think of it this way. When you receive a paycheck, it's not like your employer or the government is handing you an IOU saying, we owe you this amount of your life back.
Right.
Your paycheck represents the value of the work you performed. It allows you to participate in the economy, buy goods and services, and invest in your future. It's not a debt. It's a reflection of the value you've created.
Okay, that makes sense. But speaking of the system and how it uses our money, we've got to address the elephant in the room, taxes. And this person does not mince words, calling them unconstitutionally levied.
Yeah, taxes definitely tend to be a lightning rod issue, and this person's frustration is pretty clear.
They see it as the system taking away what we've earned through our labor, basically, another way the system takes from us.
Right. And while their feelings are understandable, it's important to remember the role taxes play. In the Canadian system, they fund a wide range of public services: healthcare, education, infrastructure, social programs, the list goes on.
Sure, we all have our own opinions on how effectively those funds are used, but
Exactly. Whether or not you agree with every government program or spending decision is a whole other conversation. But to call taxes unconstitutionally levied requires a deep dive into legal interpretations, court precedents, the whole shebang. And frankly, that's a rabbit hole we don't have time for today.
yeah, we'll have to save that for another deep dive.
Exactly. For now, let's just say it's important to be wary of those kinds of pronouncements without solid evidence to back them up.
So moving on from taxes, another area where this person expresses some serious distrust is the Canadian Pension Plan, the CPP.
Yeah, they don't seem too thrilled about that.
Not really. They're worried about inflation eroding its value over time and also the potential for, the government changing the rules down the line. Essentially, they don't seem to trust that the CPP will actually be there for them when they need it.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
It's their future financial security we're talking about. These anxieties about pension systems are definitely worth addressing.
Absolutely.
It's true that the CPP, like any pension plan, faces challenges. Inflation is a big one, as is the fact that we've got an aging population and a changing economic landscape.
Right.
But that being said, the CPP is designed to provide at least a basic level of income security in retirement. That's its purpose. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme, and yes, policies can and do change over time, but that's true for any government program.
So, how do you suggest people approach these concerns about things like inflation and potential policy changes?
Well, I think knowledge is power. The more you understand how the CPP actually works, how it's funded, what the projections are, the better equipped you are to make informed decisions about your own financial future. Don't just react to fear. Arm yourself with information.
Solid advice. And to add even more fuel to the fire, we have to touch on this person's frustration with capital gains taxes.
Ah, yes. Another perennial favorite.
They see it as, again, the system taking a cut of any attempts to build wealth, like you're being punished for making smart financial decisions.
I get where they're coming from, but let's demystify capital gains taxes a bit.
Please do,
Yeah.
because I think this is an area where a lot of people get confused.
It trips a lot of people up. Okay, imagine you bought, say, a painting 10 years ago for $500.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Now, fast forward to today, and that painting's suddenly worth $5,000. You decide to sell it.
So it's not like you're being taxed on the entire $5,000, just the profit.
Exactly. Now, whether the current capital gains tax rates are fair or whether they need reform, that's a whole other debate. But the point is, understand the mechanics of it first before you start yelling about the system being rigged.
Makes sense. And finally, we have this person taking aim at the media, specifically their role in all of this.
Ah, yes, the media. Always an easy target.
Right. They basically accuse the media of being complicit in promoting this consumerist culture, the one that bombards us with messages about buying more, having more, and just generally striving for these often unrealistic financial goals.
Okay, so this part really resonates with me. And it's not just about finances. It's about everything. The media landscape is saturated with content designed to grab your attention, keep you scrolling, and ultimately sell you something.
Oh, absolutely.
Being a critical consumer of media is crucial now more than ever, especially when it comes to financial information. Advertising and marketing are incredibly sophisticated these days. You really have to learn how to separate genuine financial advice from what's basically a sales pitch disguised as news.
So what are your parting thoughts? We've covered a lot of ground here, from taxes and pensions to the role of the media and this idea of the system being designed to extract value from our time.
It's a lot to digest, that's for sure. I think this person's perspective, while maybe a bit extreme, does raise some really important questions that we should all be asking ourselves. Like, how do we navigate these complex systems, the economy, taxes, social programs, and make choices that align with our values? It's easy to feel overwhelmed or like we're just cogs in a machine, but information, critical thinking, and seeking out diverse perspectives, those are your best tools.
Absolutely. It's about empowering ourselves to make informed decisions, right? Not just reacting based on fear or what we see on social media.
Exactly. And I think that's a great place to leave it for this deep dive. Be informed, be critical, and most importantly, be engaged in shaping your own financial future. Because remember, it is your time, after all.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today, and be sure to join us next time as we continue to explore and unpack these critical issues.